In this video, we're going to look at the surface area of cylinders, and the question from your math textbook, which if you are somehow not from my class and you've wandered onto my website and you find it interesting, is from the Nelthans Math 8. We're on page 377, and we're doing question 7, A, B, and C. And so to find the surface area of a cylinder, we need a few measurements. So this is an open cylinder, which means there's no top and bottom. So for this cylinder, all we would need to find the surface area of the cylinder would be the circumference, which is the distance around the circle, and the height of this cylinder. And the reason we need circumference is because if we were to cut this cylinder open, we just got a rectangle. And to find the area of a rectangle, we just need the length and the width. And so the circumference gives us one of those measurements. So if we look at the questions from the textbook, there are 3 of them here that are all going to focus on finding the surface area of cylinders with a top and a bottom. So we're looking at A. We've got a cylinder that's got a top and bottom circle with a diameter of 8.3 meters, and the cylinder is 2.1 meters tall. So when we're dealing with circles, I like to find all 4 measurements all the time. So we're going to find the diameter, the radius, the circumference, and the area of that top circle. And I've done some math ahead of time. I'm not doing this in my head, but the diameter is given to us. It's 8.3 meters. We know that the radius of a circle is half the diameter. So that is 8.3 divided by 2, which is 4.15 meters. That's the distance from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. That's important to find the area a bit later on. To find the circumference, we know it's diameter times pi. Because pi is the ratio of the distance around a circle to the distance across a circle. So the circumference is going to be 8.3, which is the diameter, times pi, which is 3.14. And if we do that math, we get a circumference of about 26 and 6/100 meters. And then finally, we need the area of this top circle. We know the area of the circle is pi times the radius squared. We know the radius of the circle is 4.15 meters. So we've got pi times 4.15 squared. And if we do that math, we do 4.15 times itself, whatever answer that is, times pi. We get an area of about 54 and 8/100 meters. And now we're getting into squared because now we're talking about 2-dimensional measurement. So we know the top circle of this cylinder has got an area of 54 and 8/100 meters. We know there's a top and a bottom. So we're going to times that by 2. We're going to double that. So we're going to get about 108 and 16/100 meters squared. And that gives us the area of the top and the bottom circle. Now we need to find the area of the actual cylinder itself. So now we're finding the area of basically kind of this sheet of paper, if you want to think of it that way. So we need to know the circumference of the circle, which we know, and the height of the cylinder, which we know. So the area of the cylindrical part is going to be the circumference times the height. The circumference of this circle is 26.06 times the height is 2.1 meters. And that should be meters as well. And so we get an area of the cylinder part of 54.73 meters squared. And if we add our top and bottom circles with our cylinder, we get a total area of about 162 and 89/100 meters squared. Now I wrote these in the wrong order, so we're going to do C next. And C is in centimeters. And so, again, we're going to find these 4 measurements of a circle. We're going to find the diameter, the radius, circumference, and the area. This time we're given the radius. We're given the measurement from the middle of the circle to the outside of the circle. That's 2.5 centimeters. We know to find diameter, it's radius times 2, or 2r. 2.5 times 2 is 5 centimeters. We know to find the circumference of a circle, we do diameter times pi, which is 5 times 3.14, which gives us a circumference of about 15.7 centimeters. And we need the area of the top circle, which is pi r squared. The radius in this case is 2.5. So we're going to go 2.5 times 2.5, because that's what the squared means. Whatever answer that is, we're going to multiply that by pi. And I did that math ahead of time. We're going to get about 19.63 centimeters squared. Again, that's just the top circle. We know there's a bottom circle to this cylinder as well. So we're going to double this answer. And we're going to get 39 and 25 centimeters squared. We've got the area to the top and the bottom now. We need the cylindrical part. We know that the circumference of this top circle is 15.7. The height of the cylinder is 10.3. So the area of the cylinder is circumference times the height, which is 15.7 times 10.3 centimeters. If we do that math, we get about 161.71 centimeters squared. That's this part here. We add the area of the cylinder to the area of the top and the bottom circles, and we get a total area of about 200.96 centimeters squared. And so now we're going to squish B on here a little bit, so we'll do some math up top as well. In B you've got meters and centimeters. So we need to convert one of those. It's easy to deal with smaller numbers. So we're going to convert this centimeters down to meters. 2,300 centimeters. There's 100 centimeters per meter, so that's going to be 23 meters. So we can convert that right away. And that's for the diameter of this top circle. So we want diameter, the radius, the circumference, and the area of this top circle. We're given diameter is 23 meters. We can find the radius by dividing that in half. 11.5 meters. We can find circumference by doing diameter times pi, which is 23 times 3.14, which gives us about 72.22 meters. And we can find our area by doing pi r squared. The radius is 11.5. So we're going to do 11.5 times 11.5, and then that answer times pi. And we get an area of about 415.72 meters squared. Again, that's just for the top circle. We know there's a bottom circle here as well. So we're going to double that answer. And we're going to get a total area of about 830 and 53 meters squared. We've got the area for the top and the bottom circle right there. We can find the area of the cylindrical part. And we've got the circumference is 72.22. Circumference times the height of the cylinder, 72.22 meters times 23 meters tall. If we do that math, we get about 1,661.06 meters squared. That's just the cylindrical part. If we add our cylinder to our top and bottom circles, we get a total area of about 2,491.59 meters squared. And I always say about because these answers depend on how you round. So I've rounded some of these answers to the nearest 2 decimal places. So if you are within a couple of decimal points of these answers, chances are you've done it perfectly correct. You've just rounded a little bit differently than I have. There are some other questions in your books that deal with surface area. I'll come back to those maybe in later videos, depending on how long we're going to be off for. But question 9 deals with surface area, question 11 deals with surface area. And if you want to tackle those two as practice, the answers to these questions are in the back of your book. And since I'm not marking these, there's no reason to cheat. So if you want to do those questions and then check them, the answers are on page 501. You just need to look for surface area of cylinders, find the question you're doing. It'll tell you an approximate answer because, again, it depends on your rounding. Okay? Good luck.